Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Bent with the Chris and Sandy Show, where we get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I say on every episode, we got a great show for you. We have
Kailey Nicole. She got her professional start singing and acting in theater when she was just 9 years old. She's worked in film, TV, voiceover, and stage, which has enriched her recording career. Above all, her passion lies with storytelling.
And I love the storytelling because that's my passion.
Oh, we do.
I tell
Yes.
stories all the time. So many times we're talking to friends, and I'm always telling stories.
Always.
I love it. It's the best part.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And it's really cool that you're our last one before a big trip.
Oh,
so
yes.
excited about that. Happy to send you guys off to Nashville.
Thank you.
The crazy part is,
can't wait.
The crazy part is it's like we're so used to doing this because we've done like almost 400 interviews since January of last year.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be like, I'm going to feel like
we're going to have
withdrawals.
Of doing
Yeah. I know. Taking a break is not easy.
Right.
It's very difficult.
And y'all know that firsthand. Speaking of, how has COVID affected you and what have you done to maneuver through it?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think I'm pretty adjusted now, if we're honest, because here we are over a year into this. It definitely took me the first 2 weeks. I kind of just did enjoy the break. I was like, okay, fun, whatever. And about the third week, I realized this probably was going to be a while and that I better start finding some ways to kind of continue to work while in the situation. So first things first, I was working on the EP that just came out a few weeks ago when we were all shut down. I had just kind of been in the studio writing about, I think, 2 months before everything shut down. So we really had just started working on it. But we all, about 2 months into the pandemic, we kind of worked out a way to continue working on things. We kept writing on Zoom, and then we kind of figured out a way to move on in person with just like distance and masks. And, I'd walk in the vocal room and the engineering room were two separate areas. So I just go straight into the vocal booth and my producers and I would just chat from there and record these songs completely in the middle of a pandemic, just like doing it. And that was really great. The other things that have kept me really sane and I think grounded during these times are spending time with friends, and I have kept up lessons and classes, which, there's no point in time where in my eyes that stops or ends to me. There's always so much to learn, to grow and change. And so I just kept working on that. When things would be slow, I would just dive into what I could learn more of about what I was doing and what I was trying to achieve. So that's been really great. It was kind of funny. Yesterday, my vocal coach and I, so we've been every week on Zoom since the pandemic happened, and we're both vaccinated. And so the next time will be the first time we're going to be in person in over a year. Yeah. So it was kind of, we were saying it's kind of weird. We're like, it's kind of been fun in a way, like not the pandemic itself, but the bond that she and I have created over a year being together and being consistent with each other was kind of become really special. And I was like kind of weirdly sad about this ending in a way. I'm very excited. And it's things like that that kept me kind of in times I didn't feel creatively flowing, kept me, I think, progressing and reminded me why I love what I do.
Now, anybody watching this live or the replay, be sure to share. But that's like for us, we started this show January of 2020, so a couple months before COVID. And our original plan was 100 interviews our first year. We thought if we could just do that.
That would be a lot of interviews. Yeah.
And we thought that was pushing it, to be honest with you, even 100. And then COVID happened. And I told Sandy, I was like, you know what? As I watched everything get shut down, I'm like, everybody's home. Artists are home. Yeah. They're going to need a place to talk. So we need to step our game up and just make this our year. And because of that, we did over 300 interviews last year.
That's so awesome. That's a ton of interviews.
In fact, our biggest month was August, which we did 44 in that 1 month.
Right.
Jeez.
And
Woo.
yeah, we were a little worn out. And what's crazy about it is because we started out just a music show, but now it's more of an entertainment interview show. We do actors and artists and athletes and stuff like that. Anybody in entertainment. And it's like around August, we did so many that September, a lot of artists started getting gigs again. So we were having a hard time booking people. And so I'm sitting there like, okay, what do we do to fill in those gaps? We got so used to doing so many.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, but like I told Sandy, I was like, I wonder if the acting side would take us in the way the music side has.
Like, where are those guys?
And they did, because we've had Ed Asner on. We've had recently one of the biggest villains of soap opera history, the actress that played Sheila Carter on Young and Restless.
Wow.
So all of a sudden we got this show that's growing way beyond we ever imagined.
That's so awesome. I think it's really great what's come out of certain aspects of this and kind of the challenges it's presented. And, it's made us all grow in ways that I think we didn't expect it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people would ask, when did you know you were going to do music? I always like to go deeper than that. When did it click that it could be a career?
Oh my goodness. I think it actually clicked that it could be a career, in all honesty. I was pursuing it very seriously, as you guys read, from 9 years old. And I definitely wanted it to be a career from then on. But I think the time when it got really serious was graduating college. Because, even though it's very real up to then and it was something I deeply wanted, it still feels like a hobby because you're living at home. There's no like a super adult things to stress out, even though being a kid under these professional circumstances is very adult-like. There's still like not that kind of pressure. And so when it came to graduating college and my friends are getting all of these offers from, top 4 like business consulting agencies, and they're like, oh wow, I will pay off my college debt in X amount of time. And I'm kind of sitting there thinking to myself, oh my gosh, am I actually gonna do this? Like, am I really gonna step out of this college scenario and pursue something creative that I think even though a career in the arts is very much a career, there's really kind of this toxic
stigma on it.
There's really a horrible stigma around it. And so I think that's when it became the most real to me, of like, it's a little bit scary now. And you're gonna, because it wasn't scary before. It was like, I want this to happen, but it's just, so fun in the meantime, whatever. And then I think getting like over 18, it's like, what are you doing? Like, this is insane. And you're just kind of hoping for the best. And so, that to me was when it got the most real.
And I think the stigma has to do with, and a lot of parents kind of cause this. I wish they wouldn't, but they do. I think a lot of times you see the Blake Sheltons of the world, and then you see the people that struggle. But a lot of times parents don't see the people in between, because there's many levels between the broke person and that. There's a lot of people that are making $100,000 a year income, and you'll never see their name.
Exactly. And there's like so many, I think something that's cool is because I have been in the industry since I was 9. I kind of have seen a lot of people that, started out as actors and are now really talented producer friends of mine, or directors or cinematographers, whatever else it is, or songwriters, same thing on the music end. It's really cool to watch, like you're saying, it kind of gets easy to focus on these big spaces for people of, you have to become the Blake Shelton or the Meryl Streep. And if you're not that, then you don't have a career in the arts. But there's so many jobs that are so important to getting that one person that everyone's staring at to where they're at. Everyone's staring at Meryl Streep, but I love Meryl Streep.
There's a big team.
There's a big team behind her. And so I think it's been really cool to kind of watch people find their talents within the industry over 10 years, longer than 10 years, 14. Oh my gosh. So it's been really wild to kind of see that and see where people fall. And it's been a great reminder of exactly that there are so many incredible jobs in the entertainment industry, like you're saying, that aren't the ones people stare at and think, oh my gosh.
And there's even artists that won't sign to a label because they have their core audience. They're not on the radio, they're not on all the big things, but their core audience keeps that income coming in for them, where they're living their music their own way.
Absolutely, which is pretty amazing. I think that is one benefit of social media and everything right now, is kind of, in a way, the people's power to dictate and speak to who they want. It's cool.
Because you couldn't do that 10 years ago.
No, not at all. A little bit on MySpace.
Well, 20 years ago, you really couldn't.
Yeah, 20 years ago, you really couldn't.
It's, we interviewed Joe Kelly from CDX Nashville last year. We're talking about this whole thing, and he says that if you go out and you're good enough to where you immediately get signed, he says you don't know it, but you've just been screwed. They said that if you have no following, they screwed you. You just don't know it. He said the key is to get out there. He says with the tools that artists have nowadays, there's no reason that they can't get out there, make 50, 100, 150,000 a year profit from their business of artistry. Before they even think about a label. So then the label has to come to them instead of they go to the label.
Right, totally.
And now you control the strings.
It's crazy.
Which is smart, right?
Definitely.
So kind of staying on the same topic, as you know, a lot of people, they see the glory of a Blake Shelton, of a Miranda, of a Carey, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles that it takes, not just to get to their level, but as you know, even a career level within music. And I always want to talk about that because I think nobody really does. Everybody kind of glosses over this side of it because they want to see they want to see the glory without the grind part of it. But Definitely. We don't. We want to talk about both sides. And I'm going to tell a quick story to help guide us where I want this to go. But back in 2014, we interviewed Allison Steele from Two Still Girls. And at that time, her and her daughter were full-time with music. I asked Allison what advice she'd given up-and-coming artists. And I'll never forget what she said. She said, if you can see yourself doing something else, go do that and just keep this as a hobby. She goes, because the moment you want it to be a career, everything has to change. You no longer own your own life. Everybody kind of owns a piece of it. Your friends and relatives never understand because they invite you to weddings, to cookouts, to weekends, to holidays. But when you're in that grind mode, you have to say no to almost everything. Yeah. Then your family has to sacrifice because they have to be willing to give you up to the world, so to speak, and let you give the bread to the world and they take the crumbs in a way.
Yes.
You know, it's a tough road. But then she added, but if you cannot see yourself doing anything else, then go all in, because the only way that those kind of sacrifices would be worth it. What do you think of what she said? Let's talk about that.
Oh my goodness. I think that's absolutely true. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to listen to the EP I just released, but I actually wrote a song pretty much exactly about that. It's called Half a Heart. And
Will that be the song you'll play for us later?
That wasn't the one I was planning to play. But maybe next time.
Okay.
Next time, yeah.
But that's kind of, something that for me, so I'm been living in Thousand Oaks with my family. We've been out here since 8 years. And after college, I kind of moved back home, didn't really know where I wanted to go, if it was time for Nashville and whatever. And I felt really called to Nashville, but there was this huge part of me that didn't want to go. I love home. I love my family. I love the friends that I have in California, the community I have around here. And I think that's where this song came from. I remember I went into a co-writing session and I sat down and, I kind of keep this bullet list of ideas for songs. And I'm reading through this bullet list. I go through 20 and none of them are really affecting me. I'm just saying these different titles. And I get to read the one that just says Half a Heart. And I immediately start just tears swell in my eyes and I can barely get the idea out. And my co-writer, he's like, I don't even care what that idea is.
I want it.
Right? That's the one that we're writing. And, the song's kind of saying that is that the second verse is kind of one of actually lyrically things I've written, one of the things I'm the most proud of. But it says like, big wins come with a price, unexpected sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really it at the end of the day. I think people forget, I was homeschooled from 9 until the first day I walked into college, and all the things that people see as simple, I am like, what? I never got a locker. I think that sounds like the coolest thing on the planet, but I never had one. And so I think it's coming down to the things like that. And I completely agree. That's pretty much in line with the advice I give to friends or tell people how I see myself, is that like, the second that I think I'd be happy doing something else, I'm going to go do something else. And that was kind of what it came, going back to the moment I was talking about in college. That's what I started thinking about. And I got an internship. I won't say where, but it definitely solidified for me that I couldn't do anything else. I remember I just like, I sat in this office, for college credits, doing a little 9-to-5 internship. And there was just one day I realized all I had been thinking about all day while doing these tasks was my music. Nothing else. I was just like basically doing these tasks with a blindfold on. I probably was submitting terrible work for this poor company, but all I could think about was my music. And it was kind of in that moment where the fear went away of leaving college and pursuing the creative arts, because I realized that if I didn't, I would never forgive myself. I would never forgive it. And that I'd always be wondering about it. But
you'd always wonder what if.
Yeah, I would always wonder if, but there's a lot of things when you're chasing a dream like this that is kind of unpredictable, uncertain, and leads you to a lot of different places. You miss a lot of things. I've actually been that's another reason I've been really grateful for this year, is because I've been around my friends more. But before, when I was traveling all the time, I was back and forth between Los Angeles and Nashville. I remember I'd come home and see my friends in LA, and every time I would just be like, I'm missing so much. Like, I would almost leave nights hanging out with my friends crying because, obviously not their fault, but I'd just come back and I'd need updated on so many things and all these tiny little moments and these inside jokes that I wasn't there for. And, this time that they went to dinner and like, all these things that normally I'd get to be a part of, but all of a sudden I'm not, because I'm chasing something.
The high price of calling.
Yeah. And I think that's what people don't see. It's not the stuff. I think sometimes what is advertised is the grind, is, missing the bigger moments, which are of course crazy important and still hurtful to us. But to me, it was becoming the really small things, the nuance of the everyday that I didn't get to see for my friends, for my family, I love my dog so much, for my dogs. Like, that was the stuff that was becoming really hard, or is really hard for me still. It's been better because, we've all been home, but I'm about to be traveling again. So that's what gets hard, is it's the small little nuances of every day that you're not a part of.
And I remember we've actually tried like over 100 different business ideas in our 18 years of marriage. They all failed, but
that's awesome.
but they would survive enough to keep us afloat, because but we've kept trying this and because we've when we first married, we both wanted this crazy idea of being a 24/7 couple. And everybody told us we're crazy and it never happened.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been 24/7 couple for 18 years.
Wow. That's awesome.
And we've done this and we've done that. But I remember, I'll never forget January 3rd, 2020. When our first interviews, it was Ashlyn Jones and Ava Page was our first 2 interviews. And I'll never forget, after we did those, I turned to Sandy when we were done. I was like, this is it. This is what we've been waiting on. We just knew that this was and here we are.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
and it's like because we're chasing the same dream an artist is chasing.
Right.
We're chasing the Bobby Bones and the Ty Bentleys and the Kelly Clarkson shows.
Right.
So we're chasing all that too. So we get how it feels where all of a sudden, like, you get to open for a big artist or a big venue. We get this big artist on the show and we're like freaking,
Yes. Oh yeah.
and
Totally.
all of a sudden, and so we get these little highs and these lows and the rejection and this. So everything that comes with being an artist, we have felt.
And the side jobs.
And we do side jobs to keep us afloat.
Everything. Yeah. It's very real. It's very real.
And that's why I like the show. Is I like having up and coming art. And again, even when we have the big artists that do come on, they still have these stories because they were once that up and coming artist.
Oh yeah.
And so it's I love the stories because again, it gives me hope. Especially when one of my dream guests would be Steve Harvey.
Oh,
because of his story is just magical. Where if you haven't seen it, look up on YouTube the Apollo story, Steve Harvey. It's about 10 minutes long, but he tells the story of how he got the phone call that got him on the Apollo. He didn't have no money to get there, and all of a sudden another phone call came in for a gig in Jacksonville, Florida, and ended up being enough to get him. I mean, it was just crazy, the story, but he was living out his car and all that.
Yeah.
But he even told a story before that, but several years before that, where he never heard of a comedy club before. And a friend invited him to a comedy club. He said, "What is that?" And they got there, and he says, you get to do this on stage? Because that's what he always asked God, "I want to be on TV." He just never knew how it was going to be, and he knew he was funny. It's all he did. He says, I tell jokes is what I do. Yeah. And I remember him saying that night he wasn't supposed to be on. One of the people couldn't make it, so they called the next name on the list for the following week, and it was him. He gets up there, and he wins $50. And he says, everybody thinks that I won $50. He says, what I won was my purpose.
Wow, that's so great. I think you always you hear these stories and they're just, I mean, it's pure faith. That's all I heard listening to Steve Harvey, but I think I hear that when I listen to so many other stories of people who are successful to any degree, is that it's really getting kind of this calling put in yourself and having pure faith that it will happen no matter what. And I think that is really what's incredible. And I don't know, I even look at my own career and it has been a long one, but I'm not where I want to be or hope or plan to be. But even looking at this stage so far, I've made it here so divinely and not by my own, I like to say that I work hard and then I meet God in the middle. I work really hard here and then he,
I remember somebody said, work like it depends on you and pray like it depends on God.
Yeah. Cause it really is every time I look at something, it's not really me. It's really not. Even the people, the producers I'm working with now that are so incredibly talented, I met them in the most insane, craziest way. A suitcase fell on me at the Nashville airport.
Wow.
It's not, I can never attribute really anything that's happened to me to my own hustle and grind. I think those situations come to me because I believe in what God has placed in me, but it's just crazy to look at them and even look back at mine. And it's so just perfect in I can't imagine it going down any other way. And that's always incredible to me. And I think you hear that when somebody like Steve Harvey, job lining up after job after job after job, when constantly he wasn't able to provide for himself. I think, it's hard to hear anything else but God in that to me.
I mean, we feel the same way too, because with our show, we couldn't have predicted a pandemic was about to happen. The pandemic rose our show.
If you could have, I would put you in some good places.
And then on top of that, we couldn't have predicted some of the guests that would have had on our very first year.
We would never.
I mean, I've got people that's been podcasting for 3, 4, 5 years will reach out to me from time to time. How are you getting these guests? I'm like, it's got to be God, because it's not us. We just sit there and we're just like, all of a sudden we get connected here. It connects us here and connects us here and connects us there. And next thing you know, we have someone reaching out to us. And I mean, there are people that reach out to us that I see the name, don't know who they are, and I look them up. Oh God, that's a God thing.
I should have known that name. That's awesome.
So speaking of the positive now, let's talk about some of the great moments you've had, the wow moments.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think the most recent wow has kind of been releasing this this last EP. I think it's the work that I'm most proud of, and in everything that I've created musically. I think it's what I feel is the closest to who I am and what I'm capable of producing over a lifetime of a career, hopefully. And so I'm really proud of that. And I think it's been really amazing to see the response to that, because I think that this is so authentically me and the truth of how I feel on a lot of levels. I mean, it's only 5 songs, so it's like barely scratching the surface of thoughts and feelings that I have. But just seeing the reception from people responding to that, I think, has been really powerful. The song One More Time, that I released that in January, and it's part of this new EP. And I lost a dear friend. He was my first boyfriend and then became my dear friend, and we used to write songs together. And he overdosed almost 3 years ago now. And I wrote a song about it. And to be honest, the day that we released that song was probably one of the most emotional days of my life. I think I cried. Yeah, I think I cried from waking up at 7:30 until my head hit the pillow that night. But for most of the time, so many great reasons, because people were reaching out and thanking me for the song, and saying that, I mean, the song still makes me emotional now, obviously, but saying that it meant so much to them and reminded them of so-and-so who they lost. And I think that's when, as I've said, storytelling becomes so important to me, because if I give people a little bit, if I open up just a little bit, it connects with them and it allows them to tap into something that maybe they were pushing down, not thinking about, or somebody that they weren't facing, or whatever it is. And I think that that's what makes music and the arts so important and so powerful, is that ability to connect with people that have never met you. Getting another message that really hit home, that was a really wow moment for me, was from someone in the Army fighting, and he said that he had really bad PTSD and couldn't sleep at night, and he played my music and it helped him fall asleep. And that just like brought me to instant tears. It still does. I was like, just me having fun and doing what I love is helping somebody who's sacrificing their life for me sleep at night. That was like unbelievable to me. Wow. And so I think those have been the most wow moments to me, is seeing my music help people. That those are also the moments that are a wow and solidifiers to me.
And speaking of that, about being connected and all that, sometimes people, fans of guests that we have on, sometimes get upset with me because I talk a little bit too. They want to hear ask a question and the guest talk, but they don't know what I'm doing. Because I've learned the master of getting people to open up is you open up a piece of your story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they will connect to that story, and they will open up more than they ever have.
Definitely. Very true.
Just like when you talking about the overdose, I went through 19 years of addictions until God healed me 13 years ago. But first 5 years of our marriage, it was hell for her because of those. But she was the angel, because she never nagged me, never put me down. She loved me in spite of the addictions. As I say, she loved me through them. And sometimes people will say, "Oh, she let you walk over her." What they don't understand is she allowed me to experience God's pure love through her.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I don't think I'd be alive if it weren't for that.
That's a great story.
Like I said, I love to tell stories.
As you should. I think that's one of, I don't know, maybe this is cheesy, but I think that's one of life's greatest gifts, is the ability to tell stories and share with others and connect with people.
I mean, when you look through the Bible, what did Jesus do?
Told stories.
Yeah.
So we learn from the best, right?
Yeah, we do. We try.
Yes.
Take a few nods.
The floor is yours. What are you going to play for us? And tell us about
Oh my goodness. Okay. So the song I was going to play for you guys. Also, I don't know where the mic sounds best. Do you guys find the computer mic is best, or is it best to leave this here?
You sound fine right now, so.
Okay. I don't want to get too loud while I sing, so you guys can give me a little like, by golly, quieter woman. It does. Hold on, let me get this all situated here. So this is the song I was telling you guys about.
Yeah.
So this song is called One More Time, and it's about my friend Jackson. Jackson overdosed, passed away, but Jackson's really the reason I ever started writing songs. I was doing a lot of theater and acting and film and TV, and really essentially telling other people's stories. And I remember he was an amazing guitarist and songwriter at the time. Wow. So there was one day where we were sitting by the piano and he was helping me sing a theater song. And I remember he kind of just like stopped playing and just looked over at me at the piano, and he was like, "Why aren't you writing your own songs? Like, you have so much to say, and you're such a great storyteller. And I don't know why you're always singing everybody else's songs." So losing him kind of obviously hit me very hard, but it was very unexpected, as with any overdose. And I just remember that moment when I heard, and when I found out, my mom called and she told me. And I remember I was on my way to the gym and I rushed her off the phone and I said, "Oh my gosh, crazy." And hung up, because it was just like, it was too much, that quick. And I remember I was on the treadmill, and I'll never forget it. It hit me like a semi truck. And as dramatic as you can imagine, I collapsed on the treadmill at the gym and then like sprinted out the door. Cause it just finally hit me, because I think, losing somebody that young, it was just a couple months before his 21st birthday. So I think that's always really hard to, especially when they've been close to you, but it's really hard to get a grip around that. And I had known Jack at that point creeping up on 10 years. So that was a huge loss. So I wrote a song about it. And I was really fortunate, telling you guys so much about this song, but it's a very important song to me. So we were really fortunate. His mom and his family, I was just so fortunate that they let me tell the story and allowed me to write a song about him. But on top of that, his mother and family were very involved in the recording process of the song and allowed us to use his guitars on the tracks of the song, which was so emotional hearing them played for the first time in the track. It was really incredible. So this song is called One More Time.
Awesome.
People come and go, seasons change. We made plans for tomorrow, don't even get today. Without you, I fly blind on my own. Cruise to the moment, fade like snow. Lord, let me live one more time. Tell that boy I love a couple hundred times. And how could I have known Jack wouldn't make it to 25? Oh, won't you let me live it just one more time? I have to wonder why you didn't say, girl, you better listen up. Today's his final day. If I had it all mapped out, I wouldn't be on my knees asking you to take this heavy heart from me. Lord, let me live one more time. Tell that boy I love a couple hundred times. And how could I have known Jack wouldn't make it to 25? Oh, won't you let me live it just one more time? There's nothing like the way it hurts for a mother losing her son. Shadows come and summer fades. Now my first love is gone. Now I know you're not coming back. There's no place left to run. 'Cause you're the only reason I had faith to write this song. Lord, let me live one more time. Tell that boy I love him a couple hundred times. How could I have known Jack wouldn't make it to 25? Oh, won't you let me live it? Oh, I need you to forgive it just one more time. Just one more time. Thank you.
Wow. That was a powerful song.
Thank you.
I'm an emotional guy anyway. So.
Me too. I'm an emotional gal. So
we're sitting here because, of course, her dad passed away. My mom passed away.
Sorry.
Last year, my stepmom passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
oh my goodness.
songs like that just gets to us.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, thank you.
Powerful song. You know, because when you talk about one more time, I'm like, I would love to spend one more day with my mom.
Oh
yes.
man, I'd trade anything. I think there's something. It's hard to lose anybody, but there's something particularly unique about, at least I feel, unexpected deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, that's mostly what I've experienced is very just waking up one morning and somebody's gone. And so that was really where the song came from, is that it just is. I think all of us would take, even when you know somebody's dying, you would give anything for one more minute with them. But when you don't know, they're going to go. Yeah. And I think, coming from a religious standpoint as well, there was a lot of wrestling with God for me, of wondering why somebody I talked to every day didn't tell me. That was a big thing for me, of like, could have told me, man. Like, you could have told me to call him one more time, and I could have. But
it's like with my mom, she was she beat cancer.
Wow.
And then she got sick again, but she had a doctor's appointment. And about 2 weeks before that, she was starting to get sick and all that. And she said, I'll wait we kept trying to get her to go ER or something. And she got, I'll just wait the doctor. So we get her to go to the doctor, finally to the doctor. And we get there, and they said, y'all need to take her to ER. And this is the day of the doctor's appointment. So Sandy and I took her to ER and all that. And we're there. She's strapped in. They got her all thing. And we haven't ate all that day. And I remember asking the doctor, can we go home for a few hours, freshen up, eat, and come back? Will she be fine? Doctor, oh, yeah, she's fine. Well, we leave. We get home, we get a call from the hospital saying, you need to come, we got to talk. Well, I told Sandy she's gone. I knew already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was one of them things of where, I wish I'd have been there.
Yeah.
and I kind of treated her not so good that day. And it was like, all that. And the guilt came so strong on me because I went through, like I said, 19 years of addictions, but my addictions were, if my life was going good, I didn't drink or drug that much. But if it was going bad, that's when I went down a deep hole. And she passed away 6 months after we married. So all of a sudden, that's when the addictions came back stronger than ever, and she had to deal with it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And then her dad, we get the call.
Right, that was unexpected too. Yeah, he had pneumonia. He'd been sick. A similar story to Chris's mom. He'd been sick a couple weeks, and we were all like, "You need to go to the hospital. You need to get checked out." And he was stubborn. He wouldn't go. And the day he did finally go, he did make it.
So again, both of our stories are connected. As the day that they both went, or it's the day that they both died.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm sorry.
So, so that's been, so again, it's one of them things where, like you said, like in my stepmom, she passed away last February, a little different story.
Yeah. Hers
you pretty much knew that she didn't have much more time. You knew. And so we were able to prepare for that, but the unexpected
doesn't make it any easier.
Doesn't make it easier, but unexpected.
They're both really tough, but I think unexpected really tends to knock the wind out of people a lot.
It does. It does.
And I think it's very challenging.
Yep. Absolutely. Now, as you know, a lot of people, they see the artist, but they don't see the teams behind them. And I always want to give teams credit and love that they deserve, that they never get.
Right. That's true.
So if you want to take a few moments just to tell us about the team that helps you.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have a really awesome team on the creative end right now. I'm working with Brett Pemberton and Michael Blue to make these songs that have recently come out and a few new ones. And I really think that both of them just have a very talented knack of pulling out the best of me on each end. Michael's actually from London, and we call him our country bumpkin. He's probably one of the most country people I've ever met from London, and it's just hilarious.
Wow.
So that's them on the creative end, and I have an amazing team helping me run socials and keep up with people, because that was something that was getting difficult for me, and this release would not have happened without them. And they're so talented, and just again, an area of life where I feel really blessed that they came in to help me, and they're bulldogs for me and fight for me. And it wouldn't be a team without mentioning my family. They're definitely a part of the team, and support me and keep me going and believe in me, even on the days when I don't believe in myself. And my friends, same with them. But that's kind of it. I'm a small team right now. It's pretty tiny.
That's where everybody starts.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our little 9-year-old that we let ask.
Oh, no way!
So Sandy's going to go get him real quick.
Okay.
And we got a two-year-old little daughter that when she gets older, we'll be plugging her in the show too.
Oh, how cute!
Because we are a family affair show.
Well, of course, it would be unfair. That's so adorable.
Yeah. I can't imagine doing it without family. I mean, I'm just glad that I can't sing, because that would be really tough. The road. Now, granted, if I can do it with the family, now, granted, like right now, we've been a 24/7 couple, and we travel everywhere together. So if we can do that, like some of the big artists, that we can.
Hi, Kailey.
Hi.
So, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food?
Yes.
Oh, goodness. I love a good steak. I'm happiest with a steak in front of me.
And what's yours?
Mine is pizza.
Oh, I can't blame you for pizza. It's a good choice.
Yes. Okay, so what's your favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show? Oh, golly. Well, I'm watching this show called Quantico right now, which I'm a little behind on because it's been out for a long time.
Wow.
but I really like it. But something I can always watch that brings me comfort is, of course, Friends. Kind of one of those people. I do love Friends.
That's show that comes on Nick at Night.
Oh, are you watching Nick at Night?
He does.
Yeah.
9 years old, but he does.
Oh, it's okay. I think I was watching Nick at Night at 9 years old.
Really?
Yeah, it's been over for years.
I know.
Okay, so what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie. Oh my goodness. I love this movie called The Breakfast Club. I don't know. Have you watched Breakfast Club?
Nope.
You haven't? What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is the Minion movie.
Oh, good choice. I like that movie.
And you know what's been cool, because he does watch a lot of Nickelodeon shows and stuff. Because we do entertainment and overall, we've been able to bring on quite a bit of people from his shows onto our show for him to talk to.
Oh, fun! That's so exciting.
Yes.
And what was your favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show? I forgot. SpongeBob.
Oh, I loved SpongeBob growing up. Yes, SpongeBob has been on that long. I still quote SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, he loves to be part of the show.
That's so fun. I love it.
And helping him grow a little bit too. So, who knows what he's going to do.
Rapid fire round of questions. It's perfect. Honestly, some of the hardest questions.
Yes.
And the most important ones.
And the most important,
for sure.
So if you could co-write with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh gosh. Dolly Parton. I think. Dolly Parton. I think that's one person that if I even just was breathing the same air as, I would probably forget how to formulate words. Most likely.
That is awesome. Yeah. Now, this could have 1,000 answers. Just think of the first one that pops in your head. But
oh no,
what is a song you've heard that you wish you wrote?
I'm gonna go with the most recent one that I was listening to, and I was like, it's really good. Because there's a lot of them, like over time. But most recently, was pretty much anything off of Casey's latest album. I wish I wrote, but specifically, I think Butterflies. I think that is such a well-written, well-produced, and just perfectly executed song. And I was listening to it, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with this song. It's just perfect. Like, there really isn't. I mean, and I can't think of a time that I've ever listened to a song and been like, oh, well, you could have done this. That really never happens. But it's just every time I listen to that song, each lyric, I'm like, yeah.
You can feel it.
Yeah, exactly. It's really well done.
So in 2015, we interviewed Kelsey Ballerini, and one of the questions we asked her was where she's going to be in 5 years. I always like to tell this story before I ask the guest that same question, because the answer she gave us in 2015 is almost to the T of the life she's living now.
Oh,
wow,
she knew
awesome.
where she was going.
Yes,
and
she did.
I think that when we interviewed her, if I remember correctly, her first song was at number 28 on the chart. So she didn't even have a number 1 yet.
Wow. That's awesome.
And so, so she's living that life. So where do you want to be in 5 years?
Oh my goodness. I think in 5 years, I want to be making music still and continuing to make music. I would like to have recently bought a house in Nashville. That's my goal on a personal note and a personal side. I'd like to be like, this is such a personal side of that story. I'm sure you meant professionally, but I love DIY projects. And if I could choose any backup career, it probably would have been interior design. So in 5 years, I'd love to be just like doing my little home up in Nashville and getting that all done. Making music, hopefully have had, like one charting song under my belt. Hopefully have finished an album and signed to a label. I think would be pretty cool in 5 years.
So now let's look further down the road. Let's say let's say you're 15 years in, you're a success on a grand scale. Whatever that looks like for you, you're there. If the person you are today could meet her, your future successful self, what would you want to remind her?
That taking your time is the most important thing, that there's always enough time, and to make time for the people that you care about, and that the people you care about matters more than anything else that's going to come your way.
Oh, awesome. And if you could describe your music to someone who's never heard it before, how would you describe it?
Old school meets new school.
Love that. Awesome. And what would you like for your legacy to be as an artist? What would you ultimately like to be known for?
I think writing songs and operating in the world with an open heart, and not to be, I don't know, cliche or anything, but kind of just doing my best to be somebody that is an example of what a life with Christ can be like. And
Definitely love that. So let's say you had a friend of yours and you heard him or her sing, and they've got something special. Simon Cowell would say they have that it factor. and let's say they've played maybe 40 or 50 shows, so they're still getting their feet wet on the performance side, but they've gotten on stage. They go what every artist says, that stage bug where they look over the crowd, and the crowd's roaring for them, and they know they're in the right place, and they come to you and they say, I know I've been called to this. What advice would you give that specific person to help guide them the next few years?
I think to do something every day to get better, no matter where you're at. That should never stop. Even after you win your Grammy, you should do something every day to be better, and to always remember where you came from, the people that got you there, and that you should always be helping someone behind you.
Love that. And speaking of Grammy, we have on our wall in our office that says Emmy winning the Chris and Sandy show.
I love it.
If we're gonna do it, let's go all the way.
I went to USC for college, and I was homeschooled, so the dream of going to USC was like psychotic. Like, honestly, that was just like crazy. But something that I did, and I think it just pushed me. I wore a USC sweatshirt every day while waiting for my application to come in the mail. Yeah. And anytime somebody, not friends, I obviously didn't lie to friends or people I knew, but if I were at the grocery store checkout and they'd say, oh, do you go to USC? I'd say, yeah, I do.
Oh, wow.
I study music industry at USC.
You were speaking.
Yeah, I was a student. And I kind of really believe in that now, because I think it sets you up to push yourself harder, because you've told, even if it's strangers, you've told somebody you go to USC. And so you better go to USC, because grocery store knows. And I fully believe in that. I think that's great.
That's like we let it out there to the world that, we want Steve Harvey to eventually be on here. We want Tyler Perry, because he's got the same story.
Oh, I love it.
As Steve Harvey, that we want to be a Kelly Clarkson type show. Because we when we first started, it was just going to be maybe an online thing. And as we keep growing, it becomes entertainment and all that. And I'm like, what? We can be a Kelly Clarkson show. We can be the first married couple daytime TV talk show.
I love it. Absolutely, you can.
Because as far as I know, there ain't one.
No, not that I've seen. I'm pretty well versed in my daytime talk shows.
So as we come to a close here, what's next?
Well, I'm working on more new music, which I'm really, really excited about, and kind of continuing that and releasing that. And then as everything's kind of moving and grooving again, I'm in Thousand Oaks with family still, so kind of getting back to Nashville more and doing that. And I think just continuing to write music and grinding, and hopefully live shows as we all start getting there, which I'm very excited for. I'm hoping to tour next year is what I have my eyes on. So fingers crossed that's where we're at.
And we're getting to go see Nashville for the first time ever tomorrow.
Oh, really?
We're going to be spending 5 nights there.
Oh, you
Yeah.
guys are gonna have a lot of fun.
And what's funny is we've
great
already
city.
decided that we're moving there. So
Oh, you have?
we're
Oh,
just going to.
congratulations.
So we're
Congratulations.
So we're going to see where we go. And what's funny
Okay.
about all this is when we first met, we met online back in 2002 when it was taboo, of course. They
Well,
already,
yes.
yeah.
And now it's
but
common.
we met February 2nd of 2002 online. We talked on the phone February 4th. We set a wedding date February 18th, and we met in person March 4th. So
Oh
we were
my
meeting in
gosh.
person.
Yeah.
So we were meeting in
Crazy.
person to see who we were going to marry.
Yeah.
So in a
Wow.
sense, we're going to go see Nashville where we're going to move.
Yeah. Seems to be good luck for you guys. So whatever works.
That's always been our strong point, is just stepping out in faith and going.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really
So
great.
tell everybody how they can reach out to you.
Well, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, which is Kailey Nicole Music for both. You can follow me on Twitter, which is Kailey N Music. And yeah, keep up with me there. And I post all my updates to each of those social platforms. So
And, we really enjoyed having you on it, and we look forward to having you back.
thank you. I hope so. It was great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye.